Imagine a person returns home from a long journey and struggles to walk. Their eyesight is blurry. They're terrified of falling in case they break their bones because of bone loss, or getting an infection because their immune system is as depressed as they feel. That someone has just come back from many hundreds of days in outer space. How would you feel about traveling to Mars if you knew the truth of what that journey would do to your health and your body? Would you pay attention if you heard a talk begin like that? An introduction that took me just 30 seconds to explain what my hypothetical talk, "What Are We Missing About Mars?" is all about. In the last video, I promised you a proven framework I've shared with storytellers all over the world, most especially those who want to write a book. Because if there's something I've learned over 30 years as a journalist, non-fiction author and novelist, it's the importance of a really compelling opening line or paragraph. But instead of a 360-page book, you only have 180 seconds to capture your audience. Which is why I'm going to spend this video on arguably the most important of my 4 E's framework: emotional engagement. Let me share with you 2 brief examples of how past FameLab International winners have done this, and then outline how you can do something similar. In 2019, marine biologist Tim Gordon took just 30 seconds to emotionally engage us by describing the trials of a tic-tac-sized coral reef fish in the vast Pacific Ocean trying to return home. This set up the rest of his talk, which was about the danger that climate change poses to what he calls the symphony of the sea, and the fact that countless sea creatures rely on the sound of coral reefs, something I'm sure most of us hadn't heard about before. Now, in addition to have something fresh to say, which is always an attention grabber, Tim told a specific sensory story, a technique that many successful speakers use in their talks. But notice how he placed his audience in the story rather than outside of it. We are engaged more by feeling part of a journey rather than being told about it. And you can do the same by using words like imagine, as I did at the beginning of this video. 4 years earlier, in 2015, Oskari Vinco took just over 40 seconds to show us what his talk was going to be about by enacting the character of Mr. Malaria, an approach that allowed him to explain one of the biggest killers of humans on the planet in a way that made it sound like a supervillain, which of course malaria is. Oskari's talk wasn't about something unusual. We're all familiar with malaria, but the way he presented it was. So again, we sit up and take notice. Ask yourself, if your talk is going to be about a topic most of us have heard about before, like antibiotics, which I can guarantee crops up at least once every round of regional heats, then how can you present that information in a way that will intrigue us? For example, you might choose to tell us about the most surprising fact you've discovered, or something that's counterintuitive, or the biggest misconception the general public has about your topic. You could shock us with an outrageous statistic, tell a joke, or ask a why or a how question. The moment our curiosity is piqued, we are no longer passive listeners. We're involved. Just make sure your choice provokes a reaction and makes us care, so that we're emotionally engaged. What I want to encourage you to do is to think more deeply and creatively about setting the scene for your talk, so you grab your audience in a way that is punchy, inventive, and emotionally engaging. So now we can get to the meat of your talk with the other 3 E's: examples, evidence, and empowerment. Join me for those next.